everybody, welcome to episode 17 of Pins and Needles, my litty sewy crafty podcast. A huge welcome back to all of my regular viewers and a big hello to all the new guys. Lots of new subscribers over the last couple of weeks, so thank you for spending a bit of time with me today. You can find me on Ravelry as BFG, and we also have a podcast group on there. If you just search in the groups tab for Pins and Needles podcast, you'll find us. You can also find me on Instagram as Pins and Needles UK. And if you want to get in touch, contact me on Ravelry, contact me through Instagram, or email me at hipinsandneedles@gmail.com. Check the drop down box below for timestamps and details of all the patterns and things that I mention. And I'll also put show notes up in the episode thread in the Ravelry group as well. So I hope you had a chance to watch my Christmas vlog. I really enjoyed making that and showing you some of my Christmas makes and tree decorations as well. Today is, well, I'm recording this on Friday the 30th, but this should go out New Year's Eve tomorrow. So as you can see, I've still got my Christmas mantelpiece. This is the last day it will be up. I like to get all of my Christmas decorations packed away New Year's Eve, and then I start January clean and tidy and ready to go. So enjoy my festive mantelpiece. You won't be seeing it for a while now. So we all survived Christmas. Unfortunately, I came down with tonsillitis just before, which was, it's something I get a lot, and I really did feel pretty disgusting, but I managed to soldier on. We had a wonderful Christmas day. We were at home, Dave and I and the 3 kids, and then my mum and dad joined us, and Dave's mum did as well, and then my brother and one of his friends popped over on Boxing Day afternoon. My husband Dave is a fantastic cook, so he did roast goose, which I've never had before. So we had roast goose and all of the trimmings, and it was a really, really tasty meal. And then the day after Boxing Day, we all went over to my sister-in-law's house. She lives about an hour away. And then my other sister-in-law came over, and some of her family on the other side. And there was hundreds of children, and her husband did another lovely dinner because he's a trained chef. And then that was Christmas events pretty much done. So I love having my family over, but it was lovely when they all left as well. Because we ran out of sofas, so I spent 4 days teetering on picnic chairs or sitting on the floor. So everyone had a lovely time. I hope you did as well. Ravelry and Instagram always goes a little bit quieter over those days, and I hope it was all because you were having a lovely time. What else did I want to talk to you about? Oh, I'm going to put normally I have pins, my sewing section, but the only thing I sewed was my little red dress project. So I've done a separate vlog for that. So if you want to see the details of Jocelyn's dress, check out that separate video. I wanted to mention 2 knit-alongs, one of which is connected to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. That runs obviously in Edinburgh from the 9th to the 12th of March 2017. I'm going to be going along with Jenny of Owl About Yarn, and I've been invited to visit the Podcasters Lounge. Now, Louise Scully of the Knit British audio podcast is organising and hosting that in conjunction with Blacker Yarns. You may have heard of them. I'll put their website and details down below. Excuse me. Now, they're sponsoring the Podcast Lounge, and as part of that, they're running their own knit-along, and that runs from the 19th of January to the 4th of March. It's #BlackerPodCal. And basically you can knit or crochet any design you like using any one of Blacker yarns. And then if you go to the Blacker yarn stand at the festival wearing your finished item, they'll give you a discount on any of your purchases. So I've never used Blacker yarns myself, but I might treat myself to a ball or 2 at the festival. So if you're interested, head over to the Blacker Yarns Ravelry podcast group. There's a thread running in there, and have yourself a nice knitty or crochet time. Oh, this tea is really good. as usual, Yorkshire tea. Oh, so good. Now, the most important make-along news is, of course, the Pins and Needles first ever make-along, the newfangled make-along. It starts on New Year's Day, January the 1st, and I've started to see people's plans popping up on Instagram and over in the thread, and I'm so excited. So the details are, I don't mind what craft it is that you do, knit, sew, spin, weave, card making, pottery, don't mind. You've just got to challenge yourself. It must be something new, a new pattern, new technique, new material of some sort. So we're casting on the 1st of January and the closing date for entries is the 28th of February. So you've got a good 2 months. I mentioned last time that I have been very kindly donated some fantastic prizes, so I wanted to show you those. Right, well, first of all, I bought a copy of Tilly and the Buttons Cocoa pattern. So this will be one of the prizes. It says Confident Beginners on the front of the packet. Tilly's patterns are absolutely wonderful, and it is a very popular pattern as well. So if you're a bit worried about sewing with knits for the first time, don't panic, you can do it on a normal machine, and there's loads of information on the internet. So that's a prize from me. And then 2 super lovely makers have donated prizes to us. Now, first of all, let me get this the right way around. We have this beautiful project bag, and this has been donated by the lovely Siobhan of Nellywelly. Now, she has an Etsy shop and an Instagram account of the same name, and again, check down below for links. But this is beautiful Knitty Hearts fabric, has a fantastic wrist strap and a really nice blush pink, feels like leather, little pull cord. And it's got a boxed bottom. I always check with boxed bottom bags if the seams match, and look, spot on, Siobhan, love it. So this is a lovely size project bag. It's at least 2 skeins, I reckon. It's a nice white interior lining, and it has on a little bit of webbing on the inside. This clip, so hang on a sec, I've got it the wrong way around. Yeah, it opens and closes. So if you want to run your yarn through there, stop it from tangling, you can do. And she sent me a lovely Christmas card as well. Look at that. And she said the bags are made from quilting cotton and have a fleece interfacing so they can stand up on their own, but are also nice and soft. And they really are lovely and squishy. I'm really pleased. That's a gorgeous bag. She did also very kindly send me a project bag as well, which I'll show you a bit later on. So that's one prize. Super fantastic. Thank you very much. And then next up, we have another project bag, and this came all the way from Italy, believe it or not. So hello to Miriam of My Crafty Dream. Now, this is a sock sack size project bag. It's got chickens on it. Oh. It's a beautiful canvas feeling fabric, and again, a nice sturdy handle. She's got her own labels as well, look. My Crafty Dream. And a nice pull tag. This is a lovely silky cord. It feels super shiny and soft. And again, nice box bottom, spot on seams, and a lovely polka dot inside. Isn't that fabulous? So yes, another fantastic size bag. She also sent us some stitch markers. Let me get these the right way up. So there's 2 progress keepers. That top one says handmade, and the bottom one says I love my dog. So those are very lovely. And then these are beautiful. Blue glass beads, look at those. And lovely snag-free rings on the top so they won't catch on your work. And these ones are super fancy as well. Again, it's the snagless rings. And can you see the little foil beady bits on the bottom. They're absolutely stunning. So these will be some prizes as well. So I haven't quite decided how to divide up the prizes. I think I'll do a bag and a set of stitch markers in the Ravelry group, and then I'll pull another couple of prizes from the Instagram because not everybody is in the Ravelry group. So, excuse me. So yes, a huge thank you to Siobhan of Nelly Welly and Miriam of My Crafty Dream. Fabulous, thank you so much. So those are prizes definitely worth crafting for. There is a chat thread open at the moment in the podcast group, so dive in there and show your progress. And I'll start a finished objects thread as well at the end of this podcast. I would ask that there is no chat in the finished objects thread. Makes it much easier for drawing prize winners, basically. So there you are. Hashtag newfangled make along. Challenge yourself, try a new technique, and I'm really looking forward to casting on. I'm so excited. Okay. I'm going to head into pins, my sewing section. As I said, I've done a separate video for Jocelyn's red dress, so do go and check that out. I wanted to show you what I was going to do for my sewing bit of the newfangled make along. I'm going to be trying a new pattern. I'm going to make myself some pyjamas using Butterick 5537. It's a very standard pyjamas pattern. I'm going to make this one. So it's a new to me pattern, and also I've never tried a collar before, so I thought this would be a nice soft entry into making a collar. And I'm hoping to make 2 pairs. I might be pushing my luck, we'll have to wait and see. But the trousers are just normal elasticated waist pyjama trousers, so hopefully they'll be quite quick. So I showed this a while ago, but this is what I'm going to make my wearable toile out of. And this is a vintage cotton sheet that used to belong to my grandmother. So there's 10 tons of fabric in here, plenty of space for laying out the pattern and working around any thin bits. So that's what I'm going to make my toile in. And if I get that done, I might make a second pair. I've got some nice brushed cotton. Again, I've showed that in a previous episode somewhere. So with a bit of luck, I can make 2 pairs. We'll have to wait and see. I just realised how terrible the light is. It's such a grey day. It's like living under a dustbin lid at the moment in Wales. It's drizzly and yuck. So I'm sorry about that. So yes, that's my pyjama plan for the newfangled make along. The next thing I wanted to show you, because it's been Christmas, I've had some acquisitions. Now you may have noticed I got a dressmaker's dummy from my mum. I was so thrilled with that, absolutely thrilled. So I thought I might add her to my backdrop. She could do with a name. If you've got any suggestions for names, leave them down below or send me a comment. And I kind of like rhyming names, so I was thinking Tessa the Torso, or maybe Bronwyn the Body. I'm not sure. I need a name, so if you've got any suggestions, let me know. I wrote down the details of it. She is an Adjustoform dressmaking model in the size medium. I can't really get up to show you, but you can see here there's wheels at 3 points, front, back and on the sides. So you can adjust the bust, waist and hips measurement, and it's just about showing up on the video, but here the body is actually in 2 parts. You can just see a lip there. So you can actually lengthen the waist as well. So it's as accurate as you can get. I haven't quite finished playing with it yet. It has been a super busy day, and the collar right at the top also adjusts, and there's a little pin cushion on the top of the neck. I tell you what though, Mum and I got it out of the box and we were setting it all up and reading the instructions and screwing it all together. And then we had to go and, I don't know, peel potatoes or make jigsaws with the children. And we scared the bejesus out of each other for the rest of the day. Because I keep it in my sewing room, the back room of the house. and you can just, out of the corner of your eye, you just catch it as you're walking past. And I'd put my shift dress on there just to see, you know, what it was like with some clothes on it. So honest to God, I kept thinking there was someone in my house. So I was emotionally exhausted by the end of the day. I just kept walking past and going, anyway, I'll get used to Tessa eventually, I'm sure. And it also, I have to say, seeing your own size, and I don't mean dress size, I don't mean waist circumference or anything like that, but I'm very tall. I'm 6'1", and I know I'm tall. I've always been tall, but I only ever see myself from that angle, because you look down or you see yourself in a mirror with nobody stood next to you for comparison. And I tell you what, seeing me at that height was a bit odd. It actually made me a little uncomfortable. I live in South Wales. People here are generally slightly shorter than average. And I actually do get stared at and pointed at in the street. And I've always just dismissed it. You know, there are days when it bothers you and days when it doesn't. But I understand it now, because blimey, I'm enormous. And I said, not fat enormous, that's not what I mean. I just mean there's a lot of me. Goodness me. So I'm hoping that learning to live with my dressmaker's dummy will lead to a little more body acceptance. And I can only hope that my boobs are as evenly placed. Anyway, so that was my Maine sewing acquisition. Thank you very much, Mum. I'm really looking forward to using that for dressmaking. No more sewing in my underwear, which is very cold. The other thing she bought me was these rather marvellous snips. Now, when we went to Toft Alpaca in the summer, they had these there in the crafting shop, and she bought me a pair and squirreled them away, super sneaky. So these are sprung and super sharp, so I've already used those when I was just finishing off the seams and things on the little red dress. So super handy as well, very much enjoyed those. Mum also bought me some more sheets. I do love sewing with bedclothes. Super cheap, loads of fabric, crazy colours, and if you make a pig's ear of it, it doesn't matter. So I've got some pink and white stripes. That might be nice for pyjamas for Jocelyn. And then I think actually this is a tablecloth. This is green and white. I quite like green, so that might make a nice summer shirt, or again, more pyjamas. We'll wait and see. The other thing, right. So I have a knitting group, and I have some excellent friends in that knitting group. And there's 3 of us that are particularly thick as thieves. There's me and Jenny and Ellie. And we always buy each other a Christmas present. And then the whole knit group does a Secret Santa as well. So I bought some yarn for my friend Alison, because I was her Secret Santa. And Jenny got me. And the first thing she bought me was these. You probably know all about these, and I'm seriously behind the times. They're Clover Wonderclips, I think it is, and they're just little dressmaking clips. And they've got a slightly grippy bit on the inside, and these are great for holding thicker fabrics or fabrics that you don't want to put a pin through. Jenny uses them quite a bit when she makes the project bags for her Etsy shop. So I got absolutely loads of those, which was wonderful. And she also did this. Now, you might think that this is just a teapot, and you would be wrong, because for a start, it's full of Clover Wonderclips, which is a wonder in itself. But if you take the lid off, look, it's a pin cushion. So this is an idea that Jenny found on Instagram, I think. And basically, you take the lid of a teapot, you add some stuffing and some fabric, and then you've got a pin cushion. Now, apart from the fact you can never have too many pins, you know, when you're using it, you rest it in your teapot like that so you can access the pins. And when you've finished, you pop it away. So if you have small children or pets and you're worried about them getting hold of the pins, have a go at this. So that's super, I'm really pleased with this. And again, I used this when I was finishing off Jocelyn's red dress. I don't know if you can see, but the fabric is socks. So I was absolutely thrilled with that. Thank you, Jenny. So that now sits on my mantelpiece in my sewing room. And that was a lovely present. I really enjoyed that. And then Ellie knitted me a Sockhead hat. I'm just trying to remember. Sockhead hat is a free pattern on Ravelry and it's written by Kelly McLure. And Ellie knitted it in Rainbow Heirloom single ply fingering weight yarn. Here's the hat. The colour isn't coming out too badly actually. It's a beautiful sage, pale silvery sage green. And in some lights it looks grey and in some lights it looks green and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a nice, I've got quite a big head and this is a lovely snug fit. And you can double up the ribbing and have extra warm ears, which I need when walking around the windy South Wales coast, or you know, you have it single like that and then you have a nice slouchy hat. And isn't it lovely when people knit for you? As a knitter, nobody ever knits you things because they think, oh well, you could make it yourself. And well, yes, you could, but isn't it lovely when people make things for you? So thank you so much for that, Ellie. I love it. Now, ages and ages ago, I spotted on the Guthrie and Garney website some beautiful fabric, and I didn't buy it because it was expensive. But Jenny and Ellie are sneaky, and they clubbed together and they bought me some fabric, and they managed to find the exact same one. So they gave me that for Christmas, and it's just amazing. It is, the fabric is made by Kokka, Kokka, and it's a double gauze fabric, and the design, it's this French word, Trefle, Trefle, and I'm considering making an Inari tea dress out of it. Look at that. Seagulls, oh my goodness. It's so gorgeous, such a lovely colour. And the reason I thought the Inari tea dress is because you have to let this fabric do the speaking. You want something plain and simple so you can enjoy it. And it's, oh look, there we are. It's got the design name on the selvage. There you are, look. But seagulls are a huge part of where I live. As I said, we're right on the coast in South Wales. They're a bit of a menace, but they are beautiful. And yeah, really lovely quality fabric. Look at that. So thank you very much, Jenny and Ellie. You are naughty, terrible people, but I love you. Thank you. So that is it for pins. Yeah, not a great deal of actual sewing, I'm afraid, but some lovely acquisitions. So it was a very good sewing Christmas indeed. On to needles, my knitting bit. Now, I was knitting Christmas gifts, as I'm sure a lot of you were, and I have, of course, given those gifts away. So I'm going to see if I can insert a picture somewhere up here of the things I'm about to talk about. If I don't manage to put the pictures in, do check my Ravelry project page. There are some nice pictures up on there that you can have a look at, and again, details in the drop-down box below. So the first thing I wanted to get finished was my son Conrad wanted some fingerless mitts. So I showed these on the last episode. So I used Clara Parks's pattern for Maine morning mitts, and I knit them in Fibre Spate Scrumptious Aran in the colourway Slate. I knit them exactly as the pattern. They're just a 2x2 ribbed mitt, and he likes them very much, and they fit nicely, so that was really good, and it used up a little scrap of leftover yarn I had, which is always satisfying. The other project I desperately needed to get finished, it was so late, was my mum's birthday mittens. Her birthday is the 30th of October, and I think I had most of one mitten done by then, so I was desperate to try and get them finished. So the pattern was the Perianth mittens by Gregory, It's a paid for pattern, you can find it on Ravelry, and I knitted it in West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply yarns. I made a couple of alterations to the pattern. I added 2 plain rows at the very end before grafting the ends together. I just wanted a little bit more length, and I finished the first mitten and I did the thumb as it's written in the pattern. So you have some stitches on hold, and then when you come back to knit the thumb, you put those back on your needles, and I think you pick up 2 extra stitches. So I did that, knitted the thumb, which is a patterned thumb, as hopefully the picture will show you. And I asked Conrad to try it on for me. I have large hands and my mother has small, delicate hands, which are closer to Conrad's size. And he found the thumb far too tight, like uncomfortably. It was hard to wriggle your thumb into it. And obviously stranded colourwork has the floats on the inside. So I ripped the thumb out, and I'd woven in the ends and everything. So I ripped the thumb back out, picked up all the stitches, which in colourwork is no mean feat, and I think I picked up, I can't remember exactly how many extra I picked up. The details are in my project page, but I picked up extra stitches, and obviously that was going to throw off the colourwork pattern. So I just did it plain. It's a plain thumb to match the plain ribbed cuff, and actually it looks lovely. So I finished the 2 mittens, and I was really worried they weren't going to fit. I had so many issues with this pattern of my own making. The pattern is very well written indeed. I just feel that I either chose a slightly too skinny yarn, or the designer, you know, has a very different tension to me. So I rang my mum and said, asking for a friend, could you please measure your hands? So she measured her hands and sent them back to me, the measurements, not the hands, and I decided to make mitten blockers. Now you've seen my sock blockers that I made myself before, and all I did was buy some super cheap, very thin placemats from IKEA. I think they were 60p and they're a really big size. And I made some mitten blockers. Here they are. And look, I've even written on it, Mum Mitten Block, because I'm sure I'll use these again. So her hands are 19 centimetres long and 19 centimetres in circumference. So I made these 10 centimetres wide by 20 centimetres long. I started by just cutting out a rectangle, and then I held the mitten up to it just to see where to round off the top corners and where to round it in here, and then obviously that's where the cuff would then start. So I just soaked the mittens in the bathroom sink with a bit of shampoo, because I don't use expensive wool wash. Poked these inside, and again, so as not to catch the floats, I made sure the corners were nice and round. And when I inserted it, I just bent the blocker like that, so you could slide it in without it catching. And then you just let it pop flat, and I propped it up on the radiator. So yeah, DIY mitten blockers. And then I wrapped them up in some nice paper, wrote happy birthday on it, and put it under the Christmas tree. Anyway, they fit absolutely beautiful. Blocking is magic, particularly for colour work. It just evened everything out, gave me that extra little bit of ease that I wanted, and they are absolutely perfect. So I'm thrilled with those. Mum's tickled pink as well. She put them straight on and was sat there reading her Christmas book in her mittens. So I was really pleased to have those off the needles. So that was another winner. I will show you my newfangled make-along project. I haven't started it yet, can't start it till the 1st of January, but I have decided to keep it in the beautiful project bag that Nellie Welly sent me, the one that I was allowed to keep, so the lovely Siobhan. And again, this is a slightly larger size bag. I had Mum's mittens in here, so you could comfortably get 2 or 3 skeins of sock yarn in here. Purple is my favourite colour, and this is just the most beautiful fabric. Again, really nice sit pull, lovely leather handle, and again with the little loop if you want to put your yarn through there. Super squishy, really lovely. Right, so for my newfangled make-along, my new technique for knitting is going to be brioche. I've never done brioche, and I really want to knit a beautiful brioche shawl, but I thought I'd start with something a little simpler. So I'm going to be casting on the Deco Mug Mat by Knit Graffiti Designs. So I've got my pattern all printed out. Incidentally, it fits beautifully into the project bag. And I raided my stash. You only need about 40 grams. The pattern is written for DK, but I wanted a slightly smaller mat, so I'm going for fingering. Now this is some of my handspun yarn. I learnt how to spin on a drop spindle a couple of years ago, and I eventually bought myself an Ashford Traveller spinning wheel. I didn't have the time, and I felt awful that my beautiful spinning wheel wasn't getting much use. So I sold it to Jenny, who is a wonderful spinner, and I'm so glad that she's found a new home. Anyway, so that's my handspun yarn. It's roughly a 4-ply weight, but I mean for a mug rug it doesn't matter too much. And this is some Debby Blis 4-ply, Rialto 4-ply. Can't remember the colourway, but I'll put it down below. And I think that together, that's a rather lovely colour combination. And as I said, it's mostly for practice. So I am all ready to go. Deco Mug Mat in these two colours in my Nelly Welly project bag. So literally all ready to cast on. Oh, that reminds me actually. I wanted to look up some YouTube tutorials, and it says on the bottom of the pattern, if you want to learn more about the wonderful brioche stitch, please visit Nancy Marchant's website, www.briochestitch.com. I'm going to have a look at that website. I'm going to have a look for some YouTube tutorials, and I promise, cross my fingers, pinky swear, that I will start that techniques thread in the Ravelry group. So if anyone, I know quite a few of you are brioching along, so keep your eyes out for that if you want some tips. Now, I had been knitting and sewing for other people for quite a while before Christmas. I know a lot of us do. And if I got everything done, my prize was going to be taking part in the Little Bobbins Knits Christmas Eve cast on. Danny of Little Bobbins podcast always starts the new socks on Christmas Eve, and I wanted to do the same thing. So the very lovely Miriam of My Crafty Dream sent me this project bag. Oh, look. I didn't have a Christmas project bag, and I didn't have time to sew myself one, and I was starting to feel a bit sad about it. But then she sent me this. Look. Really beautiful Christmassy red on the bottom, polka dots and Christmas baubles. And this thread, I don't know how she does it. I don't know if you can do it on a machine, but it's raised red cord and little bows and these beautiful, beautiful bauble ornaments. And again, nice handle, a lovely silky tie, and the perfect sock sack size. So the pattern I was going to cast on was, excuse me while I rearrange my sheets of paper. It was the Vintage Fairy Lights Socks by Helen Stewart of the Curious Handmade podcast. There's the pattern. And I decided to use some yarn that I bought from the Great London Yarn Crawl. It was Hedgehog Fibres Twist Sock in the colourway Heyday. Now, this pattern, I didn't realise, but this pattern is only written for one size. It's a 64 stitch sock, and I have much bigger feet. So I hopped on the pattern page and put a comment up there to say, could anybody help me work out what the stitch repeat of the Vintage Fairy Lights pattern is, because I couldn't work it out. There's my yarn. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And here is my sock. So it's a 1x1 twisted rib, and then this panel here is the Vintage Fairy Lights. There you are, look. And then the rest of the leg and the foot is a ribbed pattern. And the idea is You have a bit of fun at the beginning with this bit, which isn't hard, and then a nice easy sock for the rest of Christmas Day knitting. It's a very well written pattern. She gives you line by line instructions. She gives you percentages, you know, for your yarn if you're wondering about that. Wonderful pattern. And Helen actually replied to my comment on the pattern page to let me know the stitch count repeat, because when you knit the fairy-like bits, you increase and decrease, and I wasn't too sure what the correct number was. Anyway, she let me know the stitch repeat so I could put more stitches on, which I did, and I absolutely love knitting this. I love it. It's the perfect combination of yarn and pattern. Absolute joy to knit. I really enjoyed stealing a bit of time for myself on Christmas Eve. I really did. It was just fantastic. But it's too small. Oh, I'm so cross. I added an extra repeat, and I thought that adding an extra repeat of the pattern would be enough. I don't want to give the stitch count away because, as I said, it's a paid for pattern, but adding in the extra stitch repeat made the sock stitch count a little bit larger than my normal stitch count for a sock. So I decided I would go down a needle size, and I knit these on 2mm double pointed needles, and I shouldn't have done. The pattern calls for 2.5s, and I adjusted too much and it's too small. So I actually got as far as the heel flap, and then I thought, come on, Carter, try it on. Too small. So I knit this on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day, and I've tucked it away just to show you guys, but I am going to have to rip it all out and start over again. I'll stick with the same stitch count, but I think I'll go up to 2.5mm needles. But anyway, beautiful, beautiful pattern, beautifully written. It's only my own fault I can't get it over my foot. So that's pretty much my only work in progress at the moment. On to acquisitions for knitting. Sorry, I've got too much stuff on my lap here. Nice problem to have though. Right, what have I got? Oh, yes, as well as the teapot that Jenny made me, and as well as the seagull fabric that she joined in on with Ellie, Jenny got me even more Christmas presents, which makes me feel terrible that I didn't get her quite so much stuff. Right, first of all is this. What is that, you might ask yourself? It's an aluminium tube with a black cap on the top. Can't quite see it because of the awful lighting, but there's a slit in the rubber at the top. And it is a needle keeper, the magic wand. Basically, it's a needle protector for cable needles. And when you finish knitting your project, you scooch the needles down onto the cable, the stitches down onto the cable, and then you poke your cable needles into the top, keeps them nice and secure in here, stops your stitches sliding off. And she bought me a purple one. She had one that I was very jealous of, and I'm not sure where she got it from. It says patent pending. It says insurance for your circulars. Simply insert your needles into the silicone end. Your needles, joints and stitches are protected. And it holds up to 2 US number 9 needles. I have no idea what number 9 needles are in metric. It comes in 12 different colours, and you will love them because it says so on the back of this leaflet. And there's a quote from Kat Bordy on the back. It says, "I love these, it's about time." Kat Bordy, author, teacher and knitting rock star. See? So I don't know if these are available in the UK. The website is needlekeepers.com. Anyway, I'm super chuffed with that. So thank you very much, Jenny. Another thing that Jenny got me was some beautiful minis for my blanket. When she went away on the Geeky Puffin Knit Palooza retreat, Another one of the sellers at the vendors market was Sarah from Sarah's Texture Crafts. Hi Sarah. I met Sarah at Wonderwall in April. She's a lovely lady and sells beautiful things. She has a website, sarahstexturecrafts.com. Again, details down below. So this is Winter is Coming. There's that one. This one is Passion, and this is her sparkle sock. Superwash merino, nylon and stellina. I love that one. Look. Labradorite in her sparkle sock variegated. And this one is Spirited. Look at that. Really lovely. And then last but by no means least is Dartmoor, again a sparkly one. So this end is kind of purpley creamy colours, but if you flip it up, it's got these beautiful mossy greens in. So 5 20-gram minis for my blanket. Isn't that amazing? So again, super generous present. Excuse the crinkling. So yes, definitely in the new year I'll crack on with my blanket again. It's been a while since I've showed you on the next podcast. On the podcast, I might do it next episode. And then one of the main groups I'm in on Ravelry is full of the most amazing people. And at this, just after Thanksgiving, a special thread appears in the group, and it's the Fairy Godmother thread. And basically it's a sneaky way of giving other Ravelers presents. And the whole thread is just full of love and support and generosity. And Ravelers send each other knitting patterns, or they might ask the Fairy Godmother to contact a particular person for their postal address, and they might send them an actual thing. And the whole thread chooses to support the charity Médecins Sans Frontières. Again, a link down below. And so people make donations, or if they're called to the thread to choose a present, sometimes people say, I don't want anything, please make a donation. And I think we raised over $10,000 this year. So I sent some Fairy Godmother patterns to some of my most beloved Ravelers, a lot of whom watch the podcast. You know who you are. And I also received some wonderful things. From the very lovely Sally, she sent me some alpaca washi tape, which is in this teeny box that's very hard to open. Alpacas. I don't know whether to use it or to never use it. I can't decide. And she sent me Hedgehog fibre minis in the most eye-searing collection of colours. Now, she also sent me a fantastic sprout Christmas card. Who doesn't love a festive sprout? Now, green, which is this one here, is Envy. Yellow is Banana Legs. Pink is Jelly, and blue is Glacier. So these are just going to look wonderful as a blanket square. So thank you so much for that. And they came in a little purple bag full of gold stars, which I've just dropped all over my crotch. So I'm going to have a festive starry crotch. 'Tis the season. As well as the lovely project bags and stitch markers that we've been donated, we've also very kindly been given a Ravelry pattern download. I want to make sure I get everything right for this. So the pattern was a gift from Michelle. She is gifted goodies on Instagram. No, sorry, she's gifted goodies on Etsy and for her blog online. And she's Mrs. River Systems on Instagram. Again, all the details are down below. She has donated a copy of her Streaming Through the Mountains cowl. It's a beautiful pattern. Again, I'll try some picture magic and get one up here. And she's also offered anybody that watches this podcast 25% off any of the designs in her Ravelry shop using the code NEWFANGLEDMAKEALONG. So thank you so much for that, Michelle. That's really kind of you. I will put links and pictures and everything like that. So we've got bags and stitch markers and a sewing pattern and a knitting download as well. So yes, I think that's a fantastic reasons to start making and joining in with the along. I also got sent some patterns through the Fairy Godmother by lots of lovely ravellers. First of all, the lovely Melissa, hello Melissa, sent me Kate Davis's Sheep Carousel Tea Cozy pattern. I've had this in my queue for ages, and it's got, can you see, it's got Latvian braids here and along the bottom of the pot, and then this super perky sheep going round and round on a carousel. So I'm going to knit myself one of those next year. Something else I've been after for a while was the Smooth Operator Socks pattern by Susan B. Anderson. And this was from an anonymous person. It was from Secret Elf. I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. It was so kind. I've heard a lot about this pattern, and it has a brilliant afterthought heel, specially designed so that it doesn't interfere with self-striping yarn. I've got 2 skeins of self-striping sock yarn that I haven't used because I didn't know how to knit it without spoiling the pattern sequence. So I'm definitely making myself at least 1 pair of these next year. So smooches to Secret Elf. The next one was Don't Touch Those Leaves, which is a sock pattern by Debbie Reese. She's one half of the Periscoping Sisters podcast, and this was given to me by Becky, who I know does watch the podcast. So hello Becky, thank you so much. I've got just the yarn for this. It's some Sweet Georgia Tough Love sock. So yes, some absolutely wonderful patterns. I'm really, really lucky. So I think that's everything. Not much, well, no finished objects physically to show you, but hopefully I've managed to do the technical magic to put some pictures in. I've shared all my purchases with you. I hope you had a wonderful week over the festive period. I hope there was friends and family, or peace and quiet, or parties, or whatever suits you best. Do come and find us in the Ravelry podcast group, Pins and Needles podcast. Get yourself ready for the newfangled make-along. Use the hashtag newfangled make-along. And if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see you again in 2 weeks. Bye!